What up, Dynasty players in the house? It's the Dynasty front office. I'm your host, Jesse Schneeman. We're part of the Dynasty Warzone Network. Please like and subscribe. And just remember, we are building championships one trade at a time. I'm here with my co-hosts. Tonight, I got my main man, Chad Mendoza. How you doing tonight, Chad?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. Ready to talk about some wide receivers. Get to watch some football while we're recording. It's
No, you
a good
don't.
night.
You're supposed to turn the game off. That's the rule.
No, it's not happening. Sorry.
And the auspicious Austin Bell. How are you tonight, Austin?
Lovely. Semi-final week, big time. Me and you play against each other, so that should be fun. It's a good
It's
week,
already
man.
fun for me. I mean,
Yeah, it always is. I think last time we played, you were so excited after Thursday, so it might
was
happen
I?
again. Yeah.
Is that what happened? Okay.
Uh-huh.
I don't remember.
But I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm great. Busy time of year at work, but I have a break coming up real soon. Once Christmas hits, get about a week off.
Nice.
Yeah, relax. Gonna spend some time in the Poconos. Hopefully, there's some snow so we can do a little sliding. Be fun times.
Heck yeah.
All right, yeah, we're gonna do wide receivers tonight. But first, how about our trade bagger of the week, Austin?
Cool. Let's do it. This is a 12-team super flex. Start 2 running back, 3 receiver, 4 flex. I don't think anything else crazy in it. But the contending team received Mike Evans and Jerome Ford. And the rebuilding team received Xavier Worthy, a 25-second, which is a contender, and a 26-second, which also should be a contender. So, what do y'all think?
I think it's fair. I think it's like pretty dead on.
Yeah.
We just did a redraft of the 24 rookies last week, and Xavier Worthy was like what, 204?
3, but yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I think we all kind of agreed with that. None of us really were jumping at Worthy in that. So he's worth a high second, and then you get 2 other seconds, random seconds, kind of.
Yeah,
that's fine. 2 seconds for a high second and a later second for Mike Evans, and then a second for Jerome Ford. I think is perfectly fair.
And then a second and a second and a second.
It's a little high. It's a little high for Jerome Ford because he's not going to be their running back next year.
Yeah, I like the Worthy side.
Do you?
Personally, yeah.
Would you pay it as a contender for Mike Evans and Ford? Let's say you need a wide receiver 3, and let's say you need a flex. Would you pay that?
I'd just cut Ford out of it and see what I could.
I don't know. Ford feels like a pretty good piece these next 2 weeks, especially for a flex.
Yeah, I don't know though, man. I mean,
I'm starting in one spot,
and they play Cincinnati.
I don't feel good about it though.
That's a pretty great matchup
with DTR as the quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know. I would much rather just take Mike Evans in that trade and then try to give up less if I possibly could.
I mean, all right. So it being a good 2-week matchup for Jerome Ford, is that worth a second?
If it wins you a championship, yes.
That's not the best I think is going to win me.
I mean, that's a big if, and I'd have to know the alternative, right? Because obviously somebody's going to have to go in that spot that Ford's, that Ford's taking right now. So who's the alternative? That is it a guy that's putting up 4 points a week? Then yeah, maybe so. But if it's a guy that's even like an RB, like back end RB2 or something, I'm fine with rolling with that. And who knows what Ford's going to give you this week?
Would you start Ford or Tracy?
Tracy's kind of hurt, so that's yeah.
That's my question, and it might be a little bit of a committee.
Yeah,
kind of.
He's with him being limited, even today, that's a tough one. I think that's a coin toss for me. I'd probably go with Ford, just go with the healthy guy if I'm in the playoffs. But yeah, it's a tough one.
Austin and I made a Tracy trade.
We did.
Austin got James Conner and I got Tracy. What do you think about that, Chad?
Yeah, I mean, I like the Tracy side, but I understand it if you're in the playoffs and
James Conner's automatic freaking 15 to 20 points every week.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, is he though?
Mm.
I mean, that's a serious question because
No, he is. He is.
Yeah, I think it's like 6 weeks straight. He's had at least 15 points.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Then I mean, I totally get it. I mean, I think it's one of those things. I just believe in the player in Tracy, so I'd probably want him. He's the guy that I kind of want most in that Giants offense at cost.
I
but
mean, all right. Well, yeah, you got Neighbors.
at cost is what I'm saying. Yeah. So I mean, obviously, I'd rather have Neighbors, but am I really going to want to pay Neighbors prices? No.
3 firsts and 2 seconds or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. The rest of your team basically is what people want. So, yeah. I mean, he's really the only guy that I really want at cost on that team because you typically don't want players on bad teams. But yeah, Connors is just a safe piece. So I mean, I get it.
Yeah, for me, I had to start Tracy with my running back injuries, so I'll take the Connor next 2 weeks and live with what comes out of it. But I actually made the trade the other way with Mike in another league. I traded him Connor after I just lost for Tracy.
Yeah.
So I guess I feel like it's an easy trade.
I tried to get Tracy in a league, and I got declined. But I tried to give up Josh Jacobs to a playoff contender, a guy that's actually trying to add a running back. He wanted Josh Jacobs from me. I'm out of the playoffs, and I said, okay, I'll give you Jacobs for Jacobs in a second for Tracy in a first, and he declined it.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
And is it an early first, or is it his first?
No, it's his first, and he's a strong team. Yeah.
I mean, I'd think about that without the second back, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I thought too. I was surprised, but it was instant decline.
Guess he believed
that
in
was
Tracy
that was
just like
actually
you.
that was actually Shane.
Shane from Philly.
Mm-hmm. Shane from Philly.
Oh, is it in that big 14 team league, or is that a different league?
No, it's a different league.
Okay.
Different league. Yeah.
So, yeah, I traded Jacobs for, I think it was like Ayuk in a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think people are all over the place on Tracy. I would actually, for me personally, I get why he didn't do it. Like, I mean, I understand it because I really like Tracy as well. But I get where you're coming from, Austin, as far as, you're in the playoffs, getting a guy like Josh Jacobs on your team. What is he, RB6 or something like that, RB5?
Yeah, dude. Speaking of automatic, goodness gracious.
Automatic.
Since they decided to run all the time, I mean, he might be the best running back in football the past 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't know if he is, but I would assume he's up there.
Well, I mean, there's Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry.
Well, I mean, he's been better than Henry for sure. Henry hadn't seen the end zone in the past 5 games.
Yeah, I mean, look at Jacob's stats the last this half of the season. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it might be better than Saquon's, especially after a down game.
Jacob's been really good, not better than Saquon. So, I mean, they're talking about
no homerism involved here.
Jason Dickerson's record and all that. So, Austin, I'm just curious in that trade why you didn't, because I also had Trey Benson, and you just made no inquiry.
The league's too shallow, man. I don't have anybody I want to drop.
You could hold him. Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to add a pick because I had a third. I wanted a second, do a 2-3 swap, but you didn't have a second, so I couldn't do that. And
I don't have a second in that league.
I didn't think maybe it was a 26, and I didn't feel like getting involved in all that. So
gotcha.
I sent the trade the other way. I didn't want to be like the person that, I want more going the other. I just sent it straight. I just made it easier. Me and Mike had just done the trade the day before the other way. So,
I mean, I think it's fair. Just, I mean, whether Chad thinks the Giants are going to draft a running back or not, the possibility exists in a deep class. So that's the only thing. I saw it come through and I was like, oh, geez, here we go. One day exploding offer from Austin. And then I saw it and I almost just smashed it, but decided to take just a little second to think about it. But it's worth the risk for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only James Conner, who probably only has another season left.
Yep. Yeah, and I finished second in this league numerous years now, so it's another league that I just want to win. I'm tired of not doing it. I remember 2 years ago I had 3 first and didn't move them and finished second. So like
Hmm,
that kind of stuff, I'm just frustrated with it. So I just want to try to win. At least I can say I did my best.
right on. Yeah, it's a good move. I was curious why you didn't even ask about Betson.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't even look. I just saw you had Connor and said, "That's who I
Oh,
want. Let's do it."
gotcha. Right on.
Cool. Let's argue because this is about what this is going to happen.
Yeah, do we all right. So yeah, let's do a professional transition into our top 12 dynasty wide receivers. Yeah, that's the game this week, is just who's got the better list. I guarantee it's gonna be me.
Yeah.
Um,
We've seen you're muted, Chad, which is fine because I'll go ahead and clown Jesse. We've seen his rankings. We know it's not going to be the best list, so we
no,
can
it's
go
good.
ahead and
It's
put him
good. It's a
third.
good one.
Oh, did
I
you
did it. I
copy?
did it by your parameters, Austin.
Oh, good.
So who would we take in a startup?
There you
I
go.
don't think those are Austin's parameters. I think those are like everybody's parameters.
Except for mine.
Except for you.
I mean, so that's not everybody.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, I guess technically.
I can't help it if I think of rankings holistically. It's just an amoeba sort of thing in my head that I can't really put a finger on. But we're gonna do startup
Yeah.
rankings this time, just so not to confuse the audience. Can we just skip through Jefferson and Chase as 1, 2, right?
Yeah. In that
Okay.
order, everybody got him in that order.
Yes, in that order, and
Okay.
that you guys were wrong last time by not having Chase second.
Careful with your wrong accusations, sir. 'Cause
Wrong. That makes
you
me
have a
right.
big name that is not going to be on this top 12 that I'm pretty sure you had third last time. So careful.
Who, Tyreek? He's not on my list.
Yeah. Where was he at last time?
He's not on my list because I wasn't doing it this way.
Oh,
okay.
that's what it
Okay.
was. So your list
Okay.
wasn't bad. You were just
Wrong.
using some
No, it
weird
was just different. It
kind
was
of formulaic approach
nebulous.
that nobody else understands
correct.
in the world.
So
Yeah,
yes,
correct. Thank
I
you.
will take
Yeah.
my lumps on Chase that I said he was an inconsistent I said a high variance
I
wide
mean,
receiver
it's
one,
wide receiver 1.
and I still believe it. The thing is the coins flipped heads multiple times in a row. That's just what I believe. He's done it his whole career until this stretch this season.
I believe he's leading me to championships this year, but
Yeah.
that's yet to be seen.
We'll see. 2 more weeks. Let's see
Yep.
if he can do it.
That's right. These are the two that matter, baby.
Uh-huh.
All right. Does everybody have Lamb third?
Yeah. I wanted to not, but I couldn't not do it.
Yeah,
I don't want
it's
to
third for
not.
me.
I love Lamb third. I love Lamb. I love
Yeah.
Lamb. I love Lamp.
Me too.
I love Lamp. Chad does.
What's your
Chad does.
favorite lamb? What's your favorite lamb dish?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, that's a good
No,
question.
sir.
It's not lamb chops with mint jelly. I can tell you that. I'm not a
Ugh.
big fan.
Anything with any kind of like entree with jelly, I'm out.
No. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
about peanut butter and jelly?
That's not an entree.
Yeah,
that's
that's like a
lunch.
snack though, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Where I
It's like
grew
a
up, it was an
snack.
entree.
Yeah, but that's when you're like a kid, you know. Well, we're talking as grown men now.
At least grill that
Oh,
sucker.
still.
Yeah.
Ooh, toasted, yes, sir.
Yeah,
Mm,
toasted
Yeah,
with some
yeah.
potato chips on it.
there we go.
Yeah.
See,
I'm
that's
good.
high class living right there.
I'm a chef. What can I tell you? I'm going to elevate everything.
Just wait till somebody puts Cheetos on their peanut butter sandwich. You ever try that? It sounds weird. It's delicious.
I would like
With
that.
the jelly?
I would definitely.
No, not with the jelly. You gotta leave
Okay,
the jelly off. It's gotta be
Okay,
just
all right.
peanut butter. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I can
No
live
jelly.
with
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I like a braised lamb shank. My wife calls it mushy meats, but I like very slow braised meats, and lamb does very well. Like a
Nice.
lamb ossobuco, I could do. That's delicious.
Nice. I think for me, curry lamb the
Mm.
best. But that's kind of cheating though, because you could curry anything and it's
Yeah,
amazing,
you can curry goat, and it's good.
Yeah.
4.
But- By the way, well, real quick about goats, I can tell you that I have an unnatural fear of them. Their eyes freak me out.
They make me laugh.
If you've ever seen that A24 movie, The Vivitch, I'm telling you, that goat is the evilest thing in the world. All right, 4. I probably have somebody that you guys don't hear. I probably have the right answer while you guys do not, but go ahead.
No,
guess
you
it's
go ahead.
A.J.
You
Brown.
just
Okay, I have Nico Collins. Straight up. I mean, I could bring up probably like 30 different advanced statistics that would show that Nico Collins is just dominant. If CJ Stroud wasn't such a piece of garbage this year, their offensive line could hold a little better, and Nico wasn't hurt for 4 or 5 weeks. I mean,
That's a lot of things. To be honest with you,
it is a lot of things.
like you're about to take up all our time.
Yeah, but honestly, no, I would take Nico over any other wide receiver on the board in a startup.
actually, I've got Nico there too.
Damn,
Look at
Chad's also
there.
got the right answer. He got Austin.
Neighbors.
Woof. My, he doesn't even have a
Yep.
quarterback.
That's all right.
It's not all right.
Sure it
It's
is.
shown that
I
it's
mean,
not all right.
I mean, do you think the quarterback is going to be as good or better than Daniel Jones? Then if so, it's all right because he was killing it with Daniel Jones.
I mean, maybe it's not just as easy as drawing a straight line as to like good or not as good. Maybe it's just that Daniel Jones hyper targeted him, and a better quarterback may or may not.
I mean, the offense hyper targeted him. The
Yeah,
offense was built around Neighbors.
yeah. I mean, I would assume any halfway intelligent offensive coordinator is gonna target the shit out of Malik Neighbors. I don't think that matters, but yeah, I mean, as coaching change come in, quarterback change come in, there's just a lot of uncertainty. Too much, way more than other guys on this list. So I'm not willing to put him there.
I like it, Austin. I like it.
That's fine.
Yeah,
I mean, when I'm going
That's
into a
the only-
startup in April or March or whenever the heck I do one, that I'm likely going to take him above any of the guys after. That's how I took this. So
and in all honesty, if I'm being honest with myself, I would too. But
yeah, so
I was trying to remove my,
your bias.
Yeah.
All right. Who's your 5 then, Austin?
But that didn't last too long because Neighbors is next.
Oh, Neighbors 5 for you.
Sorry to interrupt, Austin.
Oh, you're fine.
good. Yeah.
Well down the list for me. Do you have Nico 5 at least?
nope, I have Amon-Ra 5.
Okay.
It's just too safe. It's
Right on.
just a plug and play wide receiver 1. This is exactly where I had him the last time I did this.
Let me tell you
It's
something.
probably where I have him next year too.
Let me tell you something about having putting.
Oh, is this
St. Brown?
Are
5.
you wrong on this guy too?
Let me tell you something about taking Amon-Ra St. Brown 5. It's the right answer.
What about all that slander you talked about him? Since we're just bringing up old rankings.
I don't think I did.
Oh,
I think I had him like 7. So
yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
I moved them up a couple spots. It's more about other guys moving down. It's more like, taking Tyreek out of this list because he doesn't belong in this particular type of list. And I don't remember who else I had above him.
Too many people.
Too many. It was like one other person. All right. Chad 6. Do you have ARSB?
I do not.
You got 6.
Puka Nakua.
Correct answer. Pukas Nakua, number 6. That's who I have as well. Austin?
I have Nico.
Okay. So Austin, I mean, we're all pretty close here, except Austin's like an outlier with Neighbors.
That's what I do.
I mean, I have Neighbors 1 after Austin.
Okay, then I'm the outlier. I have Neighbors. He's on the list, but not for a little while here. All right. Do we want to
Yeah,
do
let's
we
go.
want to take a break from just listing these guys and talk about like values?
Let's talk about the guys, right?
Yeah, where's the tier break? The first tier break, is it after Lamb?
Yeah.
No,
Value wise?
it's 1-2 for me.
1-2.
I'm too scared of Dallas. I need to see that they can actually run a competent organization before I have him in the same tier with Chase and Jefferson. Now, I'm not saying it's a first apart, but I'm going to take one of those two guys every time. Is kind of what I'm saying. So to me, that's not the same tier. If there wasn't a time where I would take Lamb ahead of the other two guys,
Yeah.
then they're not in the same tier for me.
I view it a little differently. I think how I view the tier is if I'm in a startup draft and I'm like, you know what, round 1 I'm going wide receiver, and there's Chase and Lamb sitting there, and somebody grabs Chase, I'm grabbing Lamb right after him, and I'm going, okay, cool, I'm fine with it. And so for me, they're in the same tier. And for me also, they're just so year to year. Like this, it's going to be
Yeah.
completely different next year. We don't know who's going to be 1 and 2 and 3 out of these guys. I think they're just going to be revolving doors. Hopefully, Dak comes back strong and that offense is, as high volume as it has been in recent years. But yeah, I mean, I think Lamb's every bit as talented as those 2 guys in front of him are. Just from a general perspective, maybe not. Maybe, I mean, I obviously think Justin Jefferson is not obviously, but I think Justin Jefferson is the most talented of the 3. But I don't think Lamb's too far behind him.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's why it was very well said, Chad. That's why I have the tier break after the third one, but I can see after the first 2 for this year, the season that they're having. But if you go back to last year, Lamb had a much better season than Chase, right?
Yeah, you couldn't trade Chase for Lamb straight up last year.
Right. Yeah, Chase was acquirable along with Burrow this last offseason. So it's these type of elite players will have, like Chad said, up and down seasons.
It's funny, we say down season and Lamb's wide receiver 4 on the season. 8 points behind Jefferson.
But you expect him to be the wide receiver 1 and win you weeks, and he's been more just consistent, not really
15 points, and I'm not getting the 30-point games. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's fair. And what you said, Chad, is really fair. That's probably how in reality, what you said is correct. So y'all are right that the top 3 tier are alone, because I wouldn't trade any of the guys below those 3 for Lamb, or vice versa. You know what I'm trying to say. I wouldn't trade away Lamb for any of those guys. So I guess he should be in that same tier.
Yeah, so for me, the next 3 guys are a tier. Nico, Amon-Ra, and Pukas. Those guys are a tier for me, and it would take, I don't know, a first to get Lamb on top of one of those guys, and it'd probably have to be a pretty good first. Like 112 is a get it done.
I have 2 more names in that same tier for 4 to 9, I think.
Okay.
Is the same tier for me. Where there would be different times where I'll take each guy in a certain situation.
Just the situation for Nico, Amon, and JS or Pukas is it's just so it feels really locked in. I guess Stafford's going to go away soon, so I guess there is some question marks there.
Absolutely, and Cup goes away, where the defenses will focus more on Puka. So
yeah, they can find it. I feel like McVay will find another weapon pretty easily.
Puga's such a good player, though, guys.
He is
So
absolutely
good.
Such a good player.
He's so good. I heard an interview where he was talking about, I don't know if I heard the interview or someone else was talking about the interview, but he was talking about what he needed to do in the offseason to get better. He said, I led the league in drops. I don't think he did lead the league in drops, but in his mind he did. He said, I gotta focus on my hands. My hands got to get better. And then did you see that game 2 or 3 weeks ago when he had that like on display with those crazy catches or whatever? I mean, he worked on his hands. I just love guys that are dedicated and just keep getting better like that. It's such a safe bet.
Yeah, I've got the 4 guys after that in the same tier. So it would be Nico, Puka, or Nico, Puka, Malik Neighbors, and who else is it? Amon-Ra, all in the same tier for me. Yeah.
All right.
So I'm happy with any of those guys in that next tier.
I have Neighbors a little lower. Just I think out of all of us, I'm clearly the one that needs to see it from the young guys before I can elevate them to
you've
that.
been like that since the first time I think I ever played Dynasty with you, so I get that.
I mean, it's not that he's on the list. I have him as a wide receiver 1. I'm not disrespecting the man that badly, but it's just, to get to top 5 status for me, you have to at least have done it once.
That's fine. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and say I have one more guy in that same tier, and I'm not giving up on him. I've seen he's too talented, so I have Marvin Harrison Jr. there. He is 9 for me, I think that is, or
Mhm.
8, whatever
8.
number where that
Yeah.
is. 8. He's still in that tier for me. Too talented, locked in with a good quarterback. The offense just hasn't worked for him so far, and I think that gets corrected as time goes. Um, like I said, he's just too talented. I'm not gonna drop him down because of one less than an ideal first season. I've watched him. He's already shown he can dominate on the NFL level. All it just takes is one click, and it goes to he's up there with the Jefferson Chase Lamb, and with that name, he'll be up there with a good season.
I mean, I can't argue with talent, but there's 3 guys I have above him that are the same thing. Are just on the precipice of becoming that elite as well.
That's fine.
So yeah, it's a step down for me, like a tier down for me. The next after Pukas is JSN, and to me, it's a clear tier down.
I don't think it should be. I
For
don't
me,
think it
it's
should
like a
be a big
whole.
tier.
For me, it's just a whole round in a startup later that I
Mm.
want JSN. Like Puka is like, okay, this is the guy that is going to lead. Any Puka or anyone above him. This is the guy that's going to lead my wide receiver room. I can just plug him in at wide receiver 1, not worry about it. I don't know if I'm there with JSN quite yet.
I've got Marvin Harrison next, the same as you, Austin. And for me, he's in a tier by himself. And the reason
That's
I say
fair.
he's in a tier by himself is because if any of those guys above him, Nico, Puka, Malik Neighbors, Amon-Ra St. Brown, I'm wanting a little bit on top. If I'm acquiring Marvin Harrison for any of those guys. But I'm with you. I mean, if he's after next season considered a top 4 wide receiver, I'm not batting an eye at that. I mean, I think it's well within the realm of possibility. I think he's much more talented than not much more, but he's more talented than any of the guys below him, in my opinion. So yeah, I mean, just going with the talent, yeah, it's hard to argue with that.
I'll just go ahead and throw it out there. I have JSN, Drake, and Garrett Wilson all on a tier. That's like, I guess, 3rd tier for me, just out of the top 5. All 3 of those guys, like out of the 3 of those guys, Garrett Wilson is the most talented in my mind, but he just has the worst situation. He plays for the Jets. Enough said.
Till he doesn't.
Well, okay, but it's going to be hard for him to force his way out of there. It would have to get really ugly, and that's not good for his situation either. You can't expect him just to go from a bad situation to a good situation, everything to be magically great. It's
Yeah, but I've watched him be. Let me make
but
sure my numbers right.
that's what it is currently, and it's the Jets. You can't just expect the Jets to get better; they're just not going to.
So he's tied for wide receiver 7 on the season.
Yeah.
On the Jets.
Yeah, well, Aaron Rodgers has
So,
also been lighting it up the last few weeks. He's quote
well,
unquote.
he was better before then, actually. Wilson was. Wilson hasn't been great. It's been Devontae who's getting the touchdowns.
Yeah, 2 out of the last 3 weeks, Garrett Wilson's been pretty good. But yeah,
Yeah.
Devontae's been lighting it up. You're right.
Yeah, so I mean, he was wide receiver 3 earlier in the season for a good, decent
Mhm.
stretch. That's my point. Is I agree with you. The talent's there. I'm never gonna down talk Garrett Wilson's talent.
But I would rather right now. I'd rather start JSN or Drake, and I like their situations better long term. They both have. I mean, JSN doesn't have a long term quarterback, but I'll take Chino over anything the Jets will throw out there. And we're all fans of Penix, right?
Yeah,
Chad, defend me on Drake London on this list.
Yeah, I mean, I like Drake London a lot. I mean, I've got him next. So
Okay, cool.
yeah.
So it's kind of like I just have the rookies after you guys because I do have Neighbors and Marv Jr. in their own tier after that.
So is that 11, 12 for you?
No, it's 10, 11.
Okay.
And then 12 is just the most undeniable force.
I knew it.
at
The
wide
guy who
receiver.
hadn't had 10 targets since week 1. Is that the guy?
Yeah. No, he had him last week. He had 10 targets last week.
Okay. Shoot.
All it took was one word. All he had to say was passing.
Yeah.
And he got 10 targets. So I has to do is say the word. Although, I struggled with this because I wanted to put BTJ there.
AJ Brown's 13 for me. So
Okay. It's AJ Brown and BTJ are kind of like a tier.
Yeah.
I would, if I could get anything on top of one of those guys for the other one, I would take it in a heartbeat. You know what I mean? Like if you give me BTJ and a third for AJ Brown, or AJ Brown and a third for BTJ. You know what I mean?
What's crazy is now that I'm looking at AJ Brown is 15 for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't argue that. He's getting older. He's the oldest guy on this list.
It's tough because if I have AJ Brown and I'm a competing roster, I love it, right? Like it's hard to argue with that, but he's just getting up there in age. What is he going to be, 28 next season?
Yeah.
Which
27 and a half on the dot now.
Yeah. So he's still got some time, but maybe if that offense was just a little bit more potent in the passing game, then he'd be a lock in for top 12, maybe even like top 9.
Yeah.
But
if this wasn't last year where they didn't have this dominant running game.
Yeah, and Devonta Smith is like demanding targets.
He's so good and just getting better.
Yeah, he's really, really good. So that's the other thing too. It's tough when you know how talented AJ Brown is, but there's just so much going on in that offense, and then I just don't think Hurts is that good. And
you know what else is crazy? They're less than a year and a half apart in age.
What's that?
AJ Brown and Devonta are less than a year and a half apart in age.
Yeah.
It feels like 4 years in my head.
Weird.
And
it does, doesn't it?
One's 26 in a month and one's 27 in 5 months.
Did Devonta come out that late? I mean, that old,
he was a senior. Yeah, he was an actual
That's right.
senior.
He was a senior. Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
You're spot on.
All right. So who do you guys have after the rookies? I think that's where
I'll just finish. So
yeah,
we set our top 6, and then we just kind of discussed 7 through 12 sporadically. So I'll just go 7 through 12, and we can work from there.
Okay.
At 7, I have Marvin Harrison Jr. 8, I have JSN. 9, I have Garrett Wilson. 10, I have Brian Thomas. 11, I have Drake London. Oh, I skipped Puka. Sorry, Puka was 7. 8, Marvin Harrison.
Okay.
9, JSN. 10, Garrett Wilson. 11, Brian Thomas. And 12, Drake London.
I feel like I was a little bit gutless putting the rookies next to each other. But I mean, it's for the same reason that I have them a little further down on the list. So, although I believe in, I don't know, I've just have seen Neighbors on display. Like I've seen him do it a little more than Marv. I think I have.
Sure.
Chad, what's the rest of your list?
Yeah, so starting at 8, I've got Marvin Harrison Jr. I've got 9, Drake London. I got 10, Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Why does that make you laugh?
It's just nuts looking at it. 11, Garrett Wilson. 12, Ladd McConkey.
Ladd McConkey all the way up there already. I mean, the kid is a beast.
Yeah, he's good.
I have Ladd 14, so we aren't far apart.
I didn't go any further on my list, but I couldn't argue. I won't argue it. Love that kid.
I wanted to put Ladd higher, to be honest with you. Like, it's just tough to do. But man, Ladd McConkey's really good. And when they get that offense figured out, it's going to be scary to see what he can become. I think I'm in the minority here, and it's part of why I laughed. I like Ladd McConkey better than Jackson Smith and Jigba.
I do not.
I do. I just like.
You
I
haven't
like him
been
as a
high
player
on
better.
JSN though. I remember.
Yeah,
that.
I haven't been high on JSN.
I mean, even when I said like a month and a half ago that JSN's been really damn good, and you said, yeah, he's been good, but you don't view him as a elite wide receiver, and I thought he was coming out of college.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did too.
So
I
to see it now
didn't.
is
Yeah,
awesome.
I never
Yeah.
did. So I mean, I thought he could be really good for fantasy because I think he can his game just suits PPR, right?
It
So
really
of
does.
course,
But
of
he's
course he
more
can
than
be
that.
really good for fantasy.
He's more than that.
Yeah,
He's
no,
getting
he's
open on
definitely
all
more
3
than that. He's
levels.
definitely more than that. I just don't think he's an elite wide receiver.
He's he's elite at certain things. And what you just said gives him a floor, and then he'll have blow up games where he's exploiting you know, defenses that don't cover what he does well. You know, he exploits holes in zone very easily. He's also very good against man. He gets a lot of separation.
Yeah.
Um,
The thing is, I think Lad McConkey is a very similar player. I think he's a little bit more physical, which I like, and I think he has the better quarterback. So I'm just thinking whenever whenever they figure out what's going on there with the Chargers, as far as actually
Chad,
letting Herbert throw the ball,
what they're
then
going to figure out is that they're going to draft a top tier running back. That's what they're going to figure out with their offense, and the lad's going to be kind
no,
of
what I
marginalized
mean figure it out.
in the
I don't
throw.
mean like Herbert's going to be throwing the ball 50 times a game. What I mean by figure it out, I mean it's tough for any quarterback in the first year of the offense. It's
Mhm.
always going to be tough. So he has another year in the offense. He can get a little bit more efficient. Lad McConkey as a player is an efficient player. I just really like the fit.
I think
Yeah.
once Baltimore promotes an offensive coordinator from within and Todd Monken goes to the Chargers, we'll be fine.
See, I feel like Lad
'Cause
is
that's what it took for Lamar to take off.
going to be a really good wide receiver too. I think he needs an alpha on the other side of him, and I think he's going to put up high end wide receiver 2 numbers.
I don't think
I
he
don't.
needs an alpha. I think he needs a big wide receiver out there to draw attention. But I think he could be, it could be sort of like a JSN DK situation. And by the way, going back to that Seattle thing, um, another problem is that their offensive line is rated towards the bottom of the league in pass blocking, so they don't have the time to throw it deep to DK right now. So you're getting a lot. That's why JSN looks so good right now, or his numbers look so good right now. If they do some things in that offseason to that offensive line, DK could be like 13 or 14 on this list. If you had asked
Yeah.
me 6 weeks ago about this list, DK would be like trying to get into the top 12, but not quite.
Yeah, I mean, I have Jackson Smith and Jigba ahead of Lad at this point. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
we just went over the list, but I just think it's tough for me to do that because I do think there's a chance Lad's going to be a better player. I think Lad's been a better player his rookie years compared to Jackson Smith and Jigba, and I think Lad could take another step year 2, just like Jackson Smith and Jigba did.
Yeah,
It's a
absolutely.
little unfair comparing rookie years. One had DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett in competition, and the other has Josh Palmer and Quentin Johnston. Like that's not the same to compare rookie year production.
Yeah, but I mean, also, Geno Smith had a ridiculous a ridiculous year. His rookie season, that Chargers offenses did nothing but struggle the entire year. So I mean, it goes both ways. Like you can't just say, well, one has 2 wide receivers ahead of him. Yeah, but the Chargers offense has been stagnant the entire year. They haven't been able to throw the ball well.
I'm never
Yeah.
gonna be able to believe in Greg Roman. I'm never gonna be able to trust Greg Roman to be able to like elevate any of these guys to where their talent should have them.
I mean,
You know,
I guess
Herbert or Bagagi.
are you hoping that he turns into a Amon Ra? Is that what you're trying to see out of McConkey? Because I just don't see the ceiling. In college, I didn't see the ceiling. I thought he could be a great wide receiver too, which is super important. But for me, that's like my first flex on my roster, where I've always thought JSN could be like my wide receiver 2 on my championship team. So, like, are you hoping for an Amon Ra type? Like, is that what you're wanting out
No,
of Lad?
no, not really. No, I think I mean, I'm hoping Lad develops into a player that can move all around the field. To be honest with you,
I
I
don't
think
think
Amon
he's
Ra's
big enough for that.
a big slot.
Yeah. Okay. I don't think he's physical or big enough for that personally, but That's just me.
I mean, he's
Also,
not
I
much
don't-
smaller than JSN.
He plays it though, in my opinion.
JSN
Yeah,
plays small.
neither one of them can really get off press, if that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're very similar players. Lad and JSN are very, very similar players. I mean, JSN's a little bigger, but they're very similar players.
Lad's also been hurt his entire life.
Yeah, that's the big thing. That is the big thing. Yeah, that's the one thing that really scares me about Lad. And it's why I don't have a lot of shares of him. The injuries are concerning.
Yeah, I mean, I have 3 or 4. Kind of wish I had more, but
Yeah.
I liked where I was getting them. Late first, early second last year.
Y'all both had London above Thomas, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Can you tell me why?
What
What
is
is
a better player?
Yeah. Well, I don't think I don't know that. I think right now he's a better player. And I'm just more comfortable plugging Drake London in as my wide receiver 1.
I just think he's an alpha wide receiver. I do. I think
I
he's a wide receiver that commands targets.
I think they
And
both are.
Brian Thomas for me, and I was really, I mean, I don't know if you guys remember, I had Brian Thomas 4 on like heavily 4 in my rookie rankings. I loved Brian Thomas coming out, but I just think Drake London is the prototypical, and he's one of the few prototypical alpha wide receivers in the league. And I think with really good quarterback play, he's going to be a really, really scary player. I think for me, if Penix does work out, and I really like Penix, I'm super excited for what's going to happen there in Atlanta.
All you need is a above average quarterback, and he did show that he just dominates.
That's fair. I don't. I have him I have him back to back. I feel like I've seen more production and alpha traits in 1 year of Thomas than really I have all of London's career. If I'm gonna be honest with you.
Honestly, it was hard for me not to put Brian Thomas above the other 2 rookie wide receivers. Like, I had to really sit and think about it because I've seen more out of Brian Thomas this year than those 2 guys. But if I'm being realistic about value and what I think is going to happen, I mean, I got to take the other 2 rookies, but it's close for me.
Yeah, that's fair. It was just a question.
I think Brian Thomas is high as I was very high on him too. If you remember, I was very high
Yeah.
in the
I
draft
wasn't,
process.
and I'll say it.
He's shown way more than I thought he could in his rookie year. I think he surprised most people, actually. I mean, it again. There's so many question marks. Who are the coaches going to be there next year?
Yeah, both
Shad
places.
Khan is just Shad Khan is punishing Doug Peterson by making him finish the year out. That's the only answer. I'm paying you. You're going to stay.
Yeah.
I mean, because Peterson has literally tried to get himself fired.
Yeah,
But
I
at least
think there's a good chance Morris is gone too in Atlanta.
Really,
If they don't make the playoffs, absolutely. I said this last week, but
that's more about Cousins than anyone, though, isn't it?
well, I would assume that he had something to do with that.
Oh, okay. I mean, if that's
Now, if he's the one that said, "Hey, I want Penix," and that works out, then obviously he stays. But
I mean,
I would assume Morris wanted Cousins of some sort, because why else would you bring him there if not?
man, that GM looks smart for that. That
Maybe, hopefully.
like he could look really smart.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's weird. I'm penciling Penix in for a good start this week in my brain. Maybe it's the 2 passes I saw him throw when he got in a few weeks ago. He had some zip on him though.
Well, he plays the Giants too, so that can't hurt.
Yeah, without Dexter Lawrence, not that scary.
It's true.
Well, cool. Look at us. We're damn early on our last segment.
I mean, yeah, I kind of want to go into like some trade scenarios though.
Okay.
So, what I want
Tell me what you want. I want you to tell me.
Well, because we have like all these guys in this range. I guess you have 9 guys. All right. I want Garrett Wilson and like a mid first for Amon-Ra.
No,
No.
I'm
Chad?
not doing it. I'll take Wilson.
Yeah, I'd take Wilson.
You'll take Wilson in the mid first, so it's not that high, that much.
I mean, Amon-Ra I also had lower than you guys, so
Okay.
Yeah,
we
I
don't
mean,
have another guy in our top 5, right? Or top 6. That's all the same. Because you had Puka 7th, right, Austin?
I had Puka 7. We all had Nico top 6.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. So for Nico,
Still take Wilson in the first.
you'll take Wilson in the first.
yeah, I need a second back.
And it's a mid first. You get a mid second back.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. That's fair.
But I mean, even then, it's tough. I mean, just because Garrett Wilson's ceiling is so high.
Yeah,
I'm just
I'll-
trying to figure out how what it takes to get from, that third tier up into the second, top 5
Yeah.
tier.
Yeah, it's really close, and that's the problem. Is after the first 3 guys, it gets really, I guess, volatile, right? Season to season.
Mhm.
So it's always tough to give up a first and say, plant your flag, if you will. So I tend not to try to make those trades. That's why for me it's a little tough.
How close was Rashee Rice to this list before he got hurt?
Oh,
He
he's
wasn't
in the
for me.
list before he hurt. Before
He
the
wasn't
hurt.
for me.
He wasn't for you,
Absolutely.
Chad. He was for you, Austin.
Yeah.
But was he close for you, Chad? Like top
Well,
15?
what's funny is coming out, I was higher than all you guys on Rashee Rice,
What?
and now I feel like
I had him as like
Rashee
the
Rice-
one. I had him as like the 112.
no. He go back and listen, Jesse. I was higher than all you guys on Rashee Rice.
Okay.
He was one of my favorite players in the draft. Matter of fact, I was telling you in that 14 team league that we do that if you have the chance to take him, you should take him. And this is before the NFL draft. I love Rashee Rice.
I remember you telling me to take Mingo,
Yeah. Well, yeah.
but that was like fourth round.
But-
It wasn't a bad call.
Yeah. It was like 4th round or something. And he got good draft capital. So
Yeah. It looked like
but yeah.
to the draft.
Yeah, Rashee Rice. I really, really like him. Man, he's so dependent on that slot role. He has to play a big slot for me.
Mhm.
And that's the big issue for me. Like if that offense changes and they try to do anything else with him, it's going to scare the crap out of me. And that's why Amon-Ra for me is a little bit lower than the other guys like Puka Nacua and Malik Neighbors and those guys, because I think Nico Collins, I think those guys can line up anywhere and do anything. I don't think Amon-Ra can. I think Amon-Ra is a better version of Rashee Rice, and Rashee Rice in that role, yes, is a top 12 wide receiver. If he's not in that role, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if he's a top 24 wide receiver. Maybe that's a hot take, but that's just how I think of it.
I think he's good enough, and they trust him enough that Andy Reid will design him a role, like a prominent role. And they're not.
It's not about prominent role. It's about he has to play that specific role, at least in my opinion.
I trust Andy Reid enough to put him in a position to succeed, whatever role it is.
I will say he's lucky Worthy has not worked out. And I didn't think it would work out really well with Worthy.
Yeah, I agree.
But he's really lucky it has.
Yeah, he is. But I mean, also that offense can support more than one wide receiver.
Yeah, of course it can. And Travis Kelce's going to be getting phased out here in the near future. But I mean, offenses change fast. New players come in, new players go out. Like things change, and that's why when you have a role dependent wide receiver, for me, it's scary. But I get why people have him as a top 12 wide receiver. It's just too volatile situation for me.
I wouldn't have it now, but after the first 2 weeks, man, he looks so locked in. I definitely would have then.
Yeah. I didn't like him coming out because of the off the field stuff.
hmm
I think I brought that up on here was the multiple issues he had. That's why I was lower. The player was really good. That was obvious. But here it is again, the off field stuff. And so we still haven't heard what's going to happen there. So I have him at, I think 17 is where I have him, 18, something like that.
I'm bracing for a 4-game suspension, and if he gets good advice, he can probably knock it down to 2 or 3. Like if he
You're
plays it the right way.
Muted. Chad, muted.
Chad, um, what do you get when you cross a snowman and a vampire?
What's that?
Frostbite.
Nice.
You were muted that whole time.
I know. So I know you said what did you say you had him at, Austin? Rashi Rice?
18, I think it is.
18. So
Yeah.
you're taking him like ahead of what, like Devonta Smith?
Nope.
Who, like Roma Dunze?
Nope.
T. Higgins?
Yes. I'm as big anti-T as can be. Always have
Okay.
been. So
Okay. Zay Flowers?
nope.
DJ Moore.
Yes.
I can actually agree with that one on DJ Moore, to be honest with you. But
yes.
Waddle.
They're dead even. I didn't know how I wanted to put them. That's why I said 17, 18. Because not sure how I want to do that. I want to pick Waddle, but that offense has really frustrated me this year. So
how about this one? This is a really interesting one. Addison.
No, it's not for me. It's Rice.
Oh yeah, for me it's Addison pretty easily.
Addison is so hard. You know what? He's exactly in that Devonta Smith Waddle category.
He's just not as good as those two guys, and
but he's
has
in
a better receiver against them.
But he's in a better passing offense.
Yeah,
than either one of them.
Best receiver on the other side. That's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Tyreek sucks a lot of helium out. A lot of air out of the room.
Yeah.
I mean, so does AJ Brown. And if he doesn't get targeted, he'll tell you.
Yeah, I think Devonta is considerably better player than Addison.
I agree.
So that they're not even in the same tier for me.
But I think Minnesota has a considerably better passing offense and considerably better passing volume.
Yeah. Well, their offense is awesome. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I have no problem understanding that. I mean, they're going to lose in the playoffs, but that's a different story altogether. What I will say. Podcast.
I would take Terry McLaurin before Rashi Rice. I think that's probably hot takey.
It is.
Yeah. Just with the age.
He's 30.
That's the problem.
No, he's not 30.
He's almost
29.
Yeah, he's 29.
So, I mean, he's 29
He'll
and
be
going to
30
lose
about the time the season starts.
And going to lose you your semifinals this week. I mean, he's borderline unstartable.
Yeah. That sounds like an Eagle fan.
All right, you see how it turns out. The list of wide receivers that the Eagles have shut down like 10 weeks in a row is impressive.
It's not a white boy. It sure wasn't. Mr. Adam Thielen had a hell of a game against the vaulted Eagles secondary.
That was a trap game, Austin, and you know it.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's now it is.
You knew it at the time, and you know it now. Is the only chance you had was that
a crazy D line that had one sack.
All I hear is excuses. Yeah. Jesse can't be held accountable for his lists because he was going off his own random criteria.
What? We won that game.
The Eagles can't be held accountable for the Panthers.
They won the trap game. There's no excuse there. They won
because it's a trap game, which I don't know. It's an NFL game.
Chad Super Bowl says what?
What? You guys are not winning the Super Bowl, Jesse. It's okay.
Okay. Someone has to win it, Chad. It's going to make you sad.
It won't be Carolina. I can tell you that.
All right. Let's get back on track. Holiday season. What do you guys got left to do?
I actually have a Christmas Sunday. My family's Christmas is this Sunday.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Good
we
time.
kind of live all over the state, so instead of making everybody come down on Christmas like we've done, honestly, since I was a little kid,
Mm.
they decided to do it Sunday.
Mm.
I don't care. It's another time for me to eat. Sounds good to me.
Right on. And then wait, you'll do it with your girl's family on actual Christmas.
Yeah, and I'll go see my parents on Christmas as well.
Cool. Chad, you got a lot of stuff left on the list. You got everything done for your boys?
Yeah, man. Yeah, today's my my oldest kid's birthday. So
Oh shit.
Happy birthday!
yeah. So was running around with him today. He had a little Christmas caroling kind of thing that he had to do at his little school. So went to that and
Cute.
yeah, just hung out with him today. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
it's been a good day and got some last minute Christmas stuff to do, but not much. So
Right on. Yeah, I think we're pretty much ready. I don't really have much. My best friend since third grade is flying in on Saturday night, flying out on Monday. So we're gonna watch the day of football together, the semifinals and the Eagles game. It'll be a lot of fun. And then I got a couple tough days at work, a lot of catering to do.
I
And
bet.
then I'm off from Christmas. I think I'll go in maybe one day, but otherwise I'm not going in until like the second or the third.
Heck yeah.
nice.
Yeah, it'll be really nice. Really nice. Oh, shout out to Smirnoff and their holiday flavors this year. Oh God. They're really, really good. I forget the name of the red, it's like a dark red bottle of Smirnoff. Oh, it's called Red, White, and Merry. Oh my God, it's so good. It tastes like Christmas fruit punch. Delicious. And then they also did a peppermint twist that's really good. And Deep Eddy's cranberry vodka. You can't go wrong there either.
Yeah, Deep Eddies. They're actually from Austin.
Yeah, that's why I kind of go back and forth between Tito's and Deep Eddy's most of the time.
Yeah.
Both, good American Texan brands.
Yeah. Both from Austin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have not had Smirnoff since I was like 20. So 21.
Oh, God. Mine since I was
21
like 16.
because that's the legal age. I was definitely 21.
Yeah. They're red, white, and blue. Red, white, and berry. I drink that all summer long. That's like my favorite thing in the summer.
Yeah.
With
Nice.
some watermelon and some club soda. It's delicious.
Cool.
All right, guys. We will not be with you next week because I think we're just going to take the holiday off like we did for Thanksgiving, and then we'll be back the week after.
To
So,
discuss all our championships.
yeah. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy New Year. Before we go, we do need to point out that Chad did lose in the listener league. We should have let off with that, actually.
Yes, I lost.
He had an off week, if you remember. That's why he didn't do anything for fantasy last week. Considering
that's
week
right.
He said
Yeah,
he
was
had an
bored
off
last
week. It was
He
nice.
didn't have anything to do.
So he probably should have paid a little attention.
Yeah, he should have paid
that
attention
way
to
he
listener
didn't
league.
lose.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I anticipated this defeat. I knew it was going to happen. That's why I traded James Conner away in anticipation, so I can get a little bit back, and have something for the future. So, good foresight on my part, if we're being honest here.
Or did you lose because you traded James Conner?
That would be wild.
Yeah, we won't talk about that, but
No, we're talking about it.
Actually, was that the case? I don't think so, but
I'm sure, considering he had like 40. So
yeah,
did he?
Go off.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I lost because I traded James Conner.
Yeah, and he's going to do it again this week against the worst run defense in NFL.
Yeah. So, dang it.
Yeah. Gotta love it.
All right, guys. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year's. And this has been The Front Office.
Merry Christmas.